Now, joining me in a very cosy studio this morning, we've got two writers, Jane Waters and Sandra Piddock. Like to say good morning, ladies?
Good morning.
Morning.
That was the ladies, obviously. They're joining us from the Facebook page Writers on Spain, which I joined probably about 6 months ago, I think, and got to know Sandra through that. As most people know, I enjoy my writing. And so does everyone else in the group. It's become a huge group now. And how many members have you got now?
Just shy of 300. I think we're 294. When we set it up, we thought it, Jane and I thought, it'll be us and half a dozen friends, and that'll be it. And now we've got almost 300.
So tell us how this page started then. What was the idea behind that? Who wants to tell me? You can't point at each other. All right, Sandra's going to tell us.
She's nervous, but she's blonde and she's from Essex. She'll have to forgive her. It'll take a while for us to settle in. Well, Jane and I have been online friends for about 3 years, Jane? Yeah, 3 years. She nodded. We've been friends for about 3 years, and we've got a few other writer friends. We used to share stuff, various places. And we were talking one Sunday morning, as you do, and we said, what a shame we can't put all the stuff together so that we can all share it from one place instead of having to get to people's blogs, then get back again. And we thought, why don't we do a page? So Jane says, yeah, you do it. So I did. And now you've got to talk.
Yeah, so I mean, can anyone join this group? You've got to be a writer. What's the criteria to join the group, Jane?
Well, anybody can join the group, I think, as long as they have something to say about Spain. Don't you agree, Sandra? And they've got a reasonable level of writing, but it can be a blog, it can be news, it can be absolutely anything. Book that they want to publish, something like that, and we'll help.
And you're not. I mean, I'm one of these people that I'm not that worried about grammar. To be honest, as long as people can understand what's being written, I'm not one of these who will go through it and pick out all the grammar mistakes and things like that, because it puts a lot of people off. And I think I'm not sure if it works for you guys as well, but so long as it's understandable, then it can be adjusted and changed later on. Is that what would you agree?
Oh, definitely, yeah, I think so. Everybody's got something to say, haven't they? And I think you can put people off, but as long as you've got a reasonable level, it's fine, isn't it? We'd love to have everybody on board.
It's what we've done with the magazine over the years, that we found that people want to write. They've maybe never written before, but they do want to write, but they're put off by all the rules and so on and so forth. So we've tried to encourage that in the magazine as well. Look, we're going to play your first song. Do you want to introduce it?
Yeah, this is one of my old-time favourites. It's Jethro Tull, Living in the Past, and the wonderful Ian Anderson on the flute.
So are there any restrictions in joining this Writers on Spain group? You keep passing it over to Sandra. Sandra.
Right. Well, what we don't want is somebody who's not a writer, has no connection whatsoever with Spain. I mean, we did have a chap from Nigeria who was in 1,200 Facebook groups and sold sex toys. And he couldn't even string a sentence together. I did get some...
sex toys?
I didn't get the sex toys, no, but I did get a few objections from some of the male writers. They said, well, you could have got us all some samples first. But, yeah, no, basically, if you've got a connection with Spain, any sort of connection with Spain, if you're any sort of writer, we want to have you in the group. But if you just want to come in and spam people, or if you're wondering what Spain's all about, there are more suitable groups for you. That's not us being precious. That's us wanting to keep the group on focus, because we're actually a very, very supportive group. At the moment, we've got a project that we're helping with, which Janie's going to tell you about, because she's our dog lady. So, Jane, go on.
Yes, we're supporting a group at the moment. One of our members, called David Luddington, put out a call for help to raise some funds for the Valverde Animal Rescue, and I think they're putting a book together with animal stories. Your adopted dog, however you've come across your dog from an animal rescue. So he put out a call on the Writers on Spain group for some support, and we're inviting people to send in stories to support their book so that they can sell it in the summer. I think it's going to be released, and to raise some funds for a very worthwhile cause.
I mean, that's the idea of the groups, I guess, isn't it? To try and support each other and do stuff like that. So what's the future plans for the group then? Where do you go from here? Who's going to answer that one? Sandra, oh, surprise.
Well, what we want to do, obviously, is carry on what we're doing now, supporting our writers. I mean, when Simon Harris brought out his book, Catalonia is Not Spain, A Historical Perspective, he put it out chapter by chapter to the group. We critiqued it, we helped to crowdfund it, we've chipped in on other crowdfunds. I think the next step is to get our writers' work spread even further, because the group is a closed group, because we don't just want anybody coming in and dropping comments and stuff like that. And of course another real concern is that people will go in and take writers' stuff and publish it elsewhere, because that sort of thing does happen a lot. So we think probably the next step is to set up a community page where there is open to the public, where the writers can share the work and interact with the public as well. And another thing that's on the cards is perhaps a meet-up towards the end of the year, to get together somewhere in Spain, so we can all get together for a weekend and have a good time, talk about writing, have a few drinks.
I was waiting for that bit. Have a few drinks. Right, that signed a few people up, I'm sure. Okay, well, we're going to play Jane's second. Jane's chosen the songs this morning, and this is her second song, and I totally concur with this one. It's The Master. It's Stevie Wonder, signed, sealed, delivered. Okay, well, Jane's trying to get back to Spain, you see. She now lives over in sunny Essex, and she's desperate to get back to Spain. She went back in 2012, is that right? Immediately regretted it, would I say? Is that about right? And so she's trying to get back to Spain. So we're looking for some work for Jane as well. So if anyone's out there and they're thinking, hello, I need a nice blonde lady coming to work for me, give us a shout. Okay, what else are you going to talk about then? Tell me a bit more about Writers on Spain and the members. And you were just talking about Steve Hall there, who a lot of people know down in Torrevieja who will be listening this morning, especially the elderly female population down that way who will be slightly nervous that he's in the area again. But yeah, tell us a bit more about what you're up to and where you're going and what you're doing and how you're going to get Jane out to Spain.
Well, Jane is a brilliant writer. She won't say it herself, so I'm going to say it. So we're going to get her some more writing work. She's also a wedding coordinator, so maybe she can do that sort of stuff over here. Yeah, you've made me a bit nervous now, because we're actually meeting Steve on Monday. Do we need the cast iron knickers for that?
Be afraid.
Oh, be afraid. Okay, I'll take Paddy with me. He'll keep him under control. Yeah, we're really pleased, because we thought it would just be us and a few friends in the group. And we got some really big hitters, a lot of published authors. We got Lucinda E. Clarke, who writes about her time in South Africa. When she was in South Africa, she's just had another book out. Debs Jenkins, of course, who brought that brilliant cookbook out where she got all the people in her village to put in recipes, and she published the cookbook. And the Fiesta Committee, I think she said about €2,000 a year they raised from that. We've got Ellie Draper, smashing writer, that's Ella Spain Buddy fame, and she set up my website for me, Sandra in Spain, because I just don't do technical. She made a marvellous job of our website, and I'll give her a little commercial, because if any writers out there who are like me and are frightened to try and set up their own website, if you're a writer, Elle will do it for a discount for you, and she'll also look after it as well. We've got Alison, who you had here a couple of weeks ago, the quirky medium. She's in our group. So we've got life coaches, cognitive therapist Lizzie Stewart. In fact, this should be called the Writers on Spain show, because I think most of the people you've had on for the last few weeks have been my writers.
So if people want to find this page, most people are on Facebook now, as we know, so if they want to find it, where do they go and what do they look for?
Well, if they put in Writers on Spain, the difficulty is it's a closed group, so they're not going to be able to see stuff unless they actually join the group, and of course they need to be writers to do that. Then that's why we're thinking we set up a community page so people can get in touch with our writers and read the stuff and everything. I know the individual writers who share the stuff, the people they know we'll get to it. But that is a bit of a difficulty, which is, as I said, that's why we're thinking another page that is publicly accessible would be a good idea.
Sounds like a plan. Right, we're running out of time. It's going so quick this morning. It's a bit like making love. Well, it is for me. We're going to play Jane's last choice today. Are you going to introduce it for us? Here we go. Great tune too.
Okay, this is another of my all-time greats. This is the wonderful Mamas and Papas and California Dreamin'.
Another good choice there from Jane, Mamas and Papas, California Dreamin'. We're just talking about Jane's other job, which is organising weddings, which reminds me of my uncle when he came to my second wedding. He said, I love Dave's weddings, they're always good. Right, well, we're going to say our goodbyes, but you're going to tell us a little bit about your blog, I think, Jane, first, yeah?
Yeah, if anybody's interested, I've got my own blog, nothing to do with Spain, but my blog is called hello60.com, and my strapline on there is not for ordinary nans and grands. So if you're a little bit wild and wacky, you know, heading into your 60s and you like a bit of an opinionated blonde female, probably saying what you're thinking, then head on over to hello60.com. Leave some comments, have a look, see if you agree with my thoughts. If you disagree, that's even greater. There's things on love and sex, dogs, no dogging, unfortunately. Maybe fortunately. You know, news and views. It's in its early days, but would love some support from you. So if you're sort of heading into your 60s, maybe you're single through choice, through circumstance, join up with me and, you know, give me your views.
Thanks very much, Jane. We'll put all these blogs and things up on the Facebook page after the show. So, Sandra, anything else to say? Do you want to add anything before we go? Or before you go? I'll tell you what you can do. You can introduce the next song. It's the BJ for today.
Oh, yes. I can't get through the morning without me BJ. Mind you, it'd be a bit difficult enjoying it this morning because we're a bit crowded here, you know, so we can't lie back and enjoy. But it's one of my favourite Bon Jovi songs, You Give Love a Bad Name.